Hello and welcome to my kitchen. I'm Tarn Dreig and I'm one of the artists working on the DERWENT Delights project. DERWENT Delights project is a project that is celebrating the attributes of the World Heritage Site here at Derwent Valley. And it comprises of a geocaching project, which is ornate metal cabinets with textile sculptures in them, along with books of poetry. Now, because of the pandemic, other aspects of the project have had to be changed. So one of them was to make textile book covers. Now, we've not been able to do that, so instead we're making a banner. And I've got here a rough design of the banner, and I'll explain how your part of the project fits into this banner. Here we have a rough drawing of the banner. It's in 5 parts because there are 5 geocaches, 5 cupboards, 5 sculptures, and sometimes they'll be exhibited all together and sometimes they will be separate. So the banner is in 5 parts. And the idea is that it looks like a cross-section of a geological strata, but at the bottom here we have the river, and the river is going to be made by a group using rope making techniques. So they're going to make ropes like this, bigger than this, but they will go around there. The second layer is representing the natural environment and how that and the machines have combined. So that's going to be a selection of cog flowers going along there in different colours. And then we have a layer that is here, that is a dry stone wall, and that is done in needle felting to make stones that are needle felted, and they'll go all the way across. Then we have another nature machine one, and that's going to be done with applique cogs going all the way across. They'll look like trees or bushes or machines, a combination of the two. And then at the top we have the mill buildings, and these are done in a series of patchwork. Now, we don't know exactly what any of this is going to look like until all the pieces are in, but the windows on these will be done as reflections of the river by using embroidery. Now, the embroidery stitches are the same ones that were used on sock manufacture in this area. The rope making techniques reference the plying and spinning in this area. So altogether, lots of different people's work will come together to make this one banner. Now, I know most of you will have done needle felting anyway, but I'm just going to show you as though you were a complete beginner. Now, this is beginner's standard. It's not how you would do needle felting if you wanted to create something really elaborate. All we are creating are rocks to build our dry stone wall. Now, they need to be no bigger than that, which is about as big as the first segment of your thumb, and they need to be quite flat, no fatter than it'll be just under a centimetre wide, because we don't want them to stick out too far from the banner. So in your pack you will have a sponge. If you've got a proper needle felting sponge or brush, use that, and you will have a selection of needle felting needles. If you prefer to have it in a handle, then stick it in your handle. I find it easier without, don't know why. And you will have a selection of fleece. Now we just need to gently pull it apart. We want to mix this together, but we don't want a complete mix. We want to see some lines and some differences in colour because it's a rock and not a blob. So we're stretching the fibres and we're putting them in different directions. This to give us a small, we don't need an enormous amount. Oops, clump. Then I'm going to take some of this white and I'm going to make a core by scrunching that into a tighter ball. These don't need, when they're finished, these don't need to be solidly felted, but they need to stay together. They will, in the process of being put on the banner, be steamed quite a lot, which will tighten and shrinken them a little bit. To pull the ends in. So a little parcel, just check. So that's the side we might. And then taking your needle, just stab, avoiding stabbing your finger. So for those who don't know, this needle has got little barbs all the way up, and each time you put it in, it carries some of the thread through, some of the fibres through, and knots them together. Now with natural fibre, with wool and animal fibres, the scales on the fibre help it stay together. But it will work with very shiny fibres as well, because it will knot them together. So the parcel you start out with will be half the size when you're finished. So to begin with, I'm just going all round trying to get the ends in and make sure it's not all going to fall apart instantly. And then I can speed up to the shape. I want this one to be slightly pear-shaped. They don't have to be regular because the rocks aren't. Particularly limestone ones tend to be more irregular than the sandstone ones. Keep changing it. If you're a beginner, if you don't move your needle felting, it'll end up stuck to the sponge underneath. And you just carry on like that to the end. I've carried on doing the needle felting and now it's quite solid, and when we put them together they will make the stones in the stone wall. Now I need hundreds of these to make the stone wall, so if you could make as many as you've got fleece for, that would be excellent. Once they're made, if you could return them to the Fleet Arts, we'd be more than grateful.